Morning, YouTube. It's Saturday the 13th of March and it's raining out. What a lovely day to work inside on the Briggs and Stratton ZH. Last night I got the bottom end all put together. It's got fresh oil in it. Everything works as it's supposed to. This thing rolls over nice. There's no slop in anything. Valves work good. I ended up not lapping the valves. The seats were in really good shape. Last night, this motor does have an oil pump in it, and basically what it does is it pumps the oil out of the sump here in the bottom and squirts it up inside the piston. That's basically it. There's a copper tube in there that just sprays the oil up in the bottom side of the piston, where it obviously gets splashed all around the rod and the cam and everything like that. Well, I had that all apart, so there's no oil in there, plus it was all full of sludge. So I cleaned it all up. I put a little oil in the pump itself to lubricate it and sort of prime it. It's just a small piston pump with a ball in it that just back and forth and pushes oil. And then last night I spun this with my drill. Man, did it have all kinds of spark when I spun it with my drill. But I wanted to do that to kind of prime the pump and make sure that it was all lubricated inside, because I didn't have the cam out or anything like that. And I did lubricate the piston and the rod and the valve stems when I put that all together. But I didn't have the cam out and I couldn't really get any lube up in there. So I wanted to just make sure that everything had some lubrication. And I guess today I'm going to clean up the head and put the head back on, and then probably tear into the carburetor and see how bad that is inside. Hopefully it's not all corroded terrible. On the other motor over there on the floor, I think that's a Briggs and Stratton A. I'm not positive. The carburetor looks the same. It's probably a little bit smaller, but it would suffice to get the engine running. If this one's in terrible shape, maybe I can make one decent one out of the two for now. But I'll pull this one apart first before I decide. So, well, I thought I'd touch base with you guys since it's taken me about a half an hour to clean up this head. These air ports were plugged up solid with those, they're like a mud dauber type wasp. They pack everything that's got little holes in it just full of mud. And they were so jammed up I couldn't even get a port brush down through there. But they're all cleaned out now, every single one of them, because I don't want to, this is real thin here where this head is, and you got to have all that cooling through there. So wanted to make sure that those were clear, and scuff this up a little bit with some sandpaper, 220 grit, and I think we're ready to put it back on. Well, I got the head on. I put my thumb over the hole. It's actually got pretty good compression, so I screwed the old plug in, which is broke off. It's got really good compression, so hopefully that part of the engine is sorted out. Now I got the carburetor apart. It's really crappy inside. It's very similar to the carburetor that 1968 Hambone has just been working on. I don't know what kind it is. It doesn't have a name on it that I can see, but I don't know. I'm doubting that it's original, because the top flange of the carburetor is a lot smaller than the flange that it bolts onto. So I'm guessing this came off of something later. The guy I got the motor from used to work at a junkyard. His father owned a junkyard, so my guess is the go-kart wouldn't start, and they pulled the carburetor off of something else and put it on there. But yeah, so the upper part of the carburetor is actually in fairly decent shape. It needs to be cleaned up. The needle fell right out. It wasn't stuck or anything like that. And the jets are pretty dirty. It probably should have a carburetor kit in it, but I'm not going to be using it for anything other than just to see if it can run. So I'm not going to put a lot of money into it. If it runs decent, someday maybe I'll rebuild the carburetor, or even try to find one that belongs on there. Now the main jet, which sticks up right there, that little tube, is plugged. And I can't get it out because some yahoo before me went down in that hole with a screwdriver and jimmied it all up. But I can't get a good bite on it, and I don't want to bust it off. So I'm going to leave that alone, try to get a fine wire up through there and get the jet cleaned out so the fuel will get through there, and clean the rest of this up with some small brushes and stuff best I can. The gasket looks pretty sad, so I'll probably have to try to punch another gasket out. I'll use, like I mentioned yesterday, I'll use, just put a piece of gasket paper on there, tap all the way around both sides of it with the hammer, and get the gasket to cut out. And then we should be good.